We've got the all-new Porsche Macan Electric.
Green.
We match. Not Zach, we are in an EV.
And it's only two-wheel drive, and it's raining out there.
It is raining.
We got a lot to go through because there are 4 different powertrains for this thing. Let's get into it. What's under the floor of this one?
All models come with a 95 kilowatt hour usable battery. We've got the base rear-wheel drive model with up to 506 kilometers, 315 miles of range, 355 horsepower, and 415 pound-feet of torque.
Then there's the Macan 4. That's right, it's all-wheel drive with 495 kilometers, 308 miles of range. It has 402 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. As I mentioned, all-wheel drive.
The Macan 4S with up to 463 kilometers, 288 miles of range, 509 horsepower, and 605 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive.
And the top dog is the Macan Turbo, 463 kilometers, 288 miles of range, 630 horsepower though, and 833 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot to digest.
It is.
And it's a lot for your budget to digest as well. We're going to get into all the pricing a little bit later. We're driving a green machine, Andrea. Green. And this one is, I think you say it Aventurine Green.
Aventurine.
It's an old 911 color. Tip of the hat to Porsche for using this color on this car.
It's got a bit of a gray undertone, but boy, in the sunshine, you see that rich green come out. It's beautiful.
I almost bought a 993 in this color. There you go. All right, let's get into what are the key standard features.
The base trim comes with a heat pump, a 12.6-inch digital driver display, a 10.9-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple Carplay and Android Auto, a wireless charger, a 10-speaker sound package plus, leatherette upholstery, heated 8-way power front comfort seats, a heated steering wheel, 7-color ambient lighting, a panoramic sunroof with power shade, comfort access including a hands-free power tailgate.
So all electric vehicles for the most part are quiet. Most of them are smooth. Most of them have great torque and acceleration. How does Porsche make this different, Andrea, in your estimation?
Okay, this mimics the gas model. It's still an electric vehicle, don't get me wrong, but when I got in it, it's engaging, it's dynamic, it's fun, it's sporty. It's so well planted because of that heavier battery. It takes corners with ease. And boy, does the steering ever feel great.
So when I picked this up and I was driving it home, I wasn't overwhelmed by it. I was like, I'm expecting this to be wow. And then the more I drove it, the more I realized that's what they were going for. They weren't going for wow. Of course, they'll sell you the turbo version if you want the wow. But I think what they were going for is exactly what Andrea touched on at the beginning. They wanted somebody to walk out of one of their traditional gas models and get into this and go, okay, it's not weird. It's kind of what you expect, and I think for somebody driving this every day, it's a good, competent electric vehicle.
And I really like the suspension. You still feel some bumps in the road, just like the gas model.
And what they've done to get around the weight of this is added air suspension. So that is a nice feature. We have a Porsche with air suspension. In addition, because this has a battery along the bottom, if you're going somewhere where there's gravel or through deep snow, you can raise the vehicle and you can lower the vehicle. That makes the suspension work well, and it also gives you much more flexibility.
And that also includes Porsche Active Suspension Management. Now, there is available rear axle steering, which has a maximum steering angle of 5 degrees. You can also get the Porsche Electric Sport Sound if you want that sound.
This one has it, yeah, and I don't like it. I turned it on, and then I'm like, I turned it off.
Because
I don't need to feel like I'm in the Jetsons going, it's not to my taste.
When it comes to the regen braking, it allows up to 240 kilowatt of power to be recuperated using the electric motors when driving.
And the turning radius, even without the active steering, is very good on this.
This EV gets me really excited about electric vehicles. I know it's a Porsche. I know it's expensive. We're going to get into the pricing a little bit later on in our vital stats. But It's just really fun to drive, and that's what I want from an EV. There is another EV that gets me excited as well, and also Zach, and that's the BMW i4.
Yeah, but it doesn't have that snap that you get from some EVs, that on and off switch that you can get from instant acceleration. So we've got it in S now. What else do we need to put it in?
Well, you got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the Cup of Car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe. Okay, Andrea's going to hit it.
I just want to add to that this is the rear-wheel drive base model, and that's one of the things I like about it, is it doesn't have that jarring feel. But if you get the turbo,
$100,000.
I still like it. So
right.
Here we go. We're going to accelerate.
And go for it. Yeah,
I still was pushed back.
It's not as snappy as others, that's all I'm saying. But this is the base model, and it's over 100 grand with freight and PDI. By the way, why did they give us the base model, Andrea? They gave us the base model to show kind of what you get, and also because in Canada, we have a luxury tax. If you spend over $100,000, they want more of your tax money. So they're probably showcasing this to show people what you can get.
I like it. It's enough power for me. What I use it for every day, I think it's great.
But I would get the all-wheel drive, even just for resale. I think this is a good-looking SUV. I think they didn't go weird. It's got real door handles. This one has a rear wiper. We're going to touch on that in a moment. I think it's a nice combination of Macan and Taycan melded together, especially at the front.
Yeah, it's sporty, it's masculine looking, it's muscular. I love the rear. I actually like it better than the current gas model Macan. Porsche's done a great job with this design, and Zach's right, it's not weird.
Okay, so one thing we don't like, I don't know if you noticed, but it's raining out, and with the pitch of the rear window, you need to have a wiper. And in Canada, it either snows or it rains, and they should come standard. All of these should come standard with a rear wiper. How much is it to get a wiper in Canada, Andrea?
Yeah, it's over $400.
It should be standard, and you should be able to delete it, because in some jurisdictions, say you live in Florida or you live in Southern California, some people don't want a wiper because of the aesthetic. Well, it should be a no-cost delete, right?
Absolutely.
Why you have to pay $400+ for a wiper? It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. Now, this EV is just over 188 inches in length, so it's almost 2 inches longer than the gas model. It's also 2 inches wider. The height's about the same, but the wheelbase is over 3 inches longer. The Macan EV has a drag coefficient of 0.25. It has 7.3 inches of ground clearance and comes standard with LED headlamps, LED tail lamps, Porsche lettering in the rear, power folding exterior mirrors, lava black side blades, 20-inch wheels, available 21-inch and 22-inch.
There were so many different packages and options and wheel design, paint colors, and trim accents. And our test model comes with some extras like matrix LED headlamps. And now we turn our attention to the inside. There's some positives. The big one is, Andrea mentioned, the extra wheelbase. The regular Macan, we feel, is just too small in the back seat. This one, we'll show you in a moment, adds a lot more space, but it kind of falls down with the interior materials. And we recently drove a Kia EV3, and I think if you changed this and put a Kia badge on it, that interior looks better than this.
Yeah, it's just too much hard plastic and high gloss black trim in this model. I do like the integration of the screens. It looks really modern in here. You've got a 12.6-inch digital driver display, a 10.9-inch touchscreen, and then an available 10.9-inch screen for the passenger as well. And also the head-up display now has the augmented reality technology.
What I will say in favor of this, and what Porsche does exceptionally well, great seats, first of all, it's the ratio of the dash to the steering wheel to the seats. So if you get in a sports car, or if you get in a Cayenne or a regular Macan, or you get in this, that ratio of windshield, dash, steering wheel, and seats is all kind of the same. So you get a similar driving seating position in any Porsche, regardless if it's gas or not.
Yeah, and I do think that the storage in here is okay. I mean, you can put a water bottle, no problem, in the side door pockets. Storage here isn't huge, but it is a little bit deeper, which is good.
Hold on, we're going around a roundabout. You might get nauseous. Don't get sick. Okay, here we go. Keep going.
I also think, you know, it comes with a leatherette interior. Porsche could have sprung for leather at this price.
They could have also sprung for a rear wiper.
Yeah, rear wiper. Available leather, and then they've got this club leather in a brown. Of course, you can change the color of the seat belts. I mean, it is just endless. You can make this Macan EV exactly the way that you want it. We've got some extra features in our test model, like the leather package in black and chalk, the 4-way power front seats, Porsche crest on the front headrest, and then the Bose sound system.
Available features include ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, 18-way adaptive front sport seats, massaging seats, an air quality system, 4-zone climate control, surround view with active parking support, and a 21-speaker Burmester surround sound system. We touched on it a moment ago, the advantage of the EV, way more room in the back seat. Here's me getting in the back, and you can see it's actually got good leg room and actually good headroom. It's got 2 cup holders in the armrest. You can spread out. This thing's pretty comfortable.
Now, Porsche doesn't publish front and rear seat legroom dimensions, so we can't share that. But as Zach said, it's definitely more spacious than the gas model.
And you lift the power lift gate, and you can see that it has a large and useful cargo area, bigger than the regular gas model as well. You can see the charging cable actually sits inside the rear cargo spot.
Space behind the second row is 19.1 cubic feet, and overall cargo space is 48 cubic feet. The Macan has a small frunk that measures 3 cubic feet.
All right, question time. You want to pick up more on the interior.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Does it use a North American standard charging port? It does not.
Yeah, so that's the Tesla charging port. Years ago, everybody adopted the General Motors charging port. Then Tesla had all their success. Now everybody's going towards it. And what's the answer from Porsche?
Yeah, we reached out to Porsche Canada, and online it says that Porsche will be adopting it in 2025, but the PR team says no, there is no official timeline on that. Very nice vehicle. However, I have to ask, why are they still using gloss black interior panels? There's so many other finishes that can be used instead. Can't wait to see if they bring out an EV Cayenne.
Well, the EV Cayenne has already been announced. When that is going to come out, they might delay it. We're not sure. But this shiny hard plastic on the inside doesn't just afflict this car. It's all Porsches. Even if you get in a 911, the center panel is all shiny hard plastic. Even the current generation gas models have the shiny hard panel. We really have a problem with the panel on the dash.
Yeah, you can get an available passenger screen here, but if you don't get it, it's all high gloss black trim. You can change this trim piece if you like. You'll pay extra for it, but this stays the same, and frankly there is way too much hard plastic. This should be more of a soft touch material. This is a vehicle that starts just under $100,000 in Canada.
Like we said about the Kia cars we drove just a moment ago, they have a cloth material that they put on their dash pad, changes the look of everything. And Porsche has a retro material they used to use on their 911s in the 70s. That was kind of this pebbled vinyl. That would look cool and retro, and that's something they can put on there. Hey, if you want to get a question in for a future video, make sure you follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea. Plus you can see what's going on behind the scenes. And for me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
Strange pricing spread, a few options on the base, and that will add to more than a 4S. And of course, depreciation will do its thing. Yes, but remember, even when you get the 4S, you have to add extras. It's not like you move up to the 4S and then you get just a ton more. You are getting more power in that model. I actually think the sweet spot is the Macan 4, because you don't lose a lot of range, you get more power, and the price difference.
You get all-wheel drive.
You get all-wheel drive, and the price difference between the two is about $4,400 in Canada and $3,500 in the U.S. So I think that's a good one to go for.
So have you ever been to one of those birthday parties at Build-A-Bear? You know, the kids go in there and they build the bear they want, right?
Yep.
Maybe you don't know what that is, but you get the teddy bear you want. With Porsche, it's exactly the same. You get exactly the car that you order, and that's why they are so profitable. They get all these people to spend. Don't matter what trim you get.
Nope.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
It's gorgeous, but is it worth the extra money compared to the ICE model?
So we're going to combine the last question with this hot topic. I did some digging around this morning, Andrea, on the old interwebs. I'm going to use Canadian dollars because it's just easier for us. Basically, the Macan 4, which is the one I would get because of the all-wheel drive, and a GTS, we're not talking a base model, a GTS gas model Macan are roughly the same price. That is a nicer interior with sport seats. And I would be hard-pressed to argue that the GTS gas model will hold its value more.
Oh, for sure it'll hold its value. We see that with EVs now. Depreciation is a real factor, and I think it is a concern. That's why we recommend leasing electric vehicles. We've got a friend who actually had an EV for 8 years. She started with a Tesla, moved to the Porsche Taycan, and then was interested in an SUV. So guess what she test drove? The Macan GTS, and she test drove this EV. She did settle on the electric vehicle because she loves the driving experience, and this was fun enough for her.
All right, what we do like to do is dive into the numbers. She's a spendy. Let's get into all of that and her vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. We're using MSRP. The base model starts at just under $95,000, and the top trim Turbo is just under $128,000. In the US, the base model starts at just over $75,000, and the top trim is just over $106,000.
This Macan EV has an 800-volt charging architecture and comes with an 11-kilowatt onboard charger, and can charge with speeds up to 270 kilowatts. With a DC fast charger, it'll charge from 10 to 80% in 21 minutes. Level 2 charger, 0 to 100% in 10 hours.
Now, Porsche has come up with a pretty neat trick for the Macan EV. When you're at a 400-volt charging station, the system splits the battery into two 400-volt units, allowing charging speeds up to 135 kilowatt.
This Macan EV can still tow an impressive 4,400 pounds. The warranty is 4 years, 80,000 kilometers, or 50,000 miles. Porsche Canada has 2 years inclusive charging, unlimited numbers of 30-minute charging sessions. In the US, you get 1 year of 30-minute DC fast charging at Electrify America. Lightning round, two things we'd like to see improved.
I love that Porsche built an electric vehicle that looks like a gas model and somewhat feels like a gas model.
That's two, Andrea. Okay, I like the fact it's not weird. Okay.
Weird.
What about your dislike?
Well, I don't like all this high gloss piano black here.
I want the rear wiper in the back to be included. If you want to get rid of it, it should be a no-cost delete. There you go. So that's the Macan EV, our first time driving this baby. Yeah. So what do you guys think of that?
Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.